Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host Cody Tanner. Cody, how are you on this Happy League New Year?
It is a league new year. James, I'm doing splendid. I had some delicious donuts this morning that I bought yesterday. They're actually right here. Listen, shout out. I'm not going to shout out. Grove City, there's good donuts. If they want to pay me, I'll shout them out. No, there was a really good donut stand at the Grove City Outlet Mall. So it was really, really good. So I ate some of those this morning. James, how are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Looking forward to taking on the day and maybe even talking a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks. Maybe.
I mean, listen, there's a lot to talk about. Maybe who knows? Maybe we draft a quarterback. We'll get into that when we get into my mock draft here a little later. So James last week shared his first mock draft. I'm sharing my first mock draft, and then we're also going to go over all the crazy signings and moves that have happened so far in free agency with people coming to Steelers and some people leaving the Steelers. So James, before we do that, let's give a shout out.
Absolutely. Support for Steelers by the Lake podcast is provided in part by the Edinburgh Hotel Bar at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh, offering a variety of lunch and dinner items every day, plus catering services and a large room for private parties. Information is available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com.
Yeah, we love the Edinburgh Hotel Bar. Was just there last week. Good food, good time, always great time. James, man, a lot of things have happened. Started off. Do you want to go in order of how things occurred? Do you want to go talk about guys that left the team first? How do you want to do this?
I mean, you can jump around, whatever. I'll just put marks next to things so I know what we talked about.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, so let's start. Let's start off with the big one, but not the big one. I think it's the big one in the sense that he got a decent pay from this, but Najee Harris did leave and he did sign with the Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me, I'm going back a few years. 1 year deal, and very, very interesting to see that he got I'm confused that he got a 1 year. Honestly, I thought someone would have given him a 2 or 3. So.
I think this is the equivalent of what they typically refer to as a prove-it deal, especially the way the terms are laid out on it. So it's a 1 year, $5.25 million base, including his signing bonus and the normal stuff. But there's up to $4 million worth of incentives, so he could make over $9 million if he hits all the goals that they laid out for him. No clue as to what they are. None of that usually comes out until later on in the season when they say so-and-so is 150 yards away from this goal that'll give him an extra 500 grand or an extra million or whatever.
Yep.
Pittsburgh doesn't do contracts that way, so it's tougher for us to be as familiar with it. But, I think his age is working against him. This is the thing that we said when he got drafted as a rookie. He was a 24-year-old rookie, and now he's getting real close to 30 years old. So you're not typically going to give a running back that old a 3 or 4 year deal when you don't know where they're going to hit that plateau and start dropping off. He did have a good year last year as far as numbers, production, even getting in the end zone a few times. But I didn't think he was going to be in that upper tier money wise.
Yeah. He just turned 27 this month. So he is older. And running backs typically 27, 28, 29 is when they start falling off year by year. But it is, I'm happy he went somewhere and, hopefully can have a decent year on that prove it deal. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll go down the line. Landon Roberts, middle linebacker, formerly for us, went to the Raiders on a 1 year prove it deal with $3 million. That's not even a prove it deal, honestly. He's getting close to the end. And they're going to see what can happen with him. So he'll probably be a depth piece more than likely. I don't know if you have anything else to share about that one specifically.
I do. That one's ironic because he's going there because Robert Spillane left in free agency. So former Steelers linebacker making room for now another former Steelers linebacker. As Spillane got a payday, I believe, in New England. So
Yeah.
he just keeps on getting paid and making more and more. So good on him. But yeah, I think a lot of people, from what I'm seeing, are kind of upset that Landon Roberts moved on and Pittsburgh didn't retain him and chose to go the Malik Harrison route instead. But I think it was inevitable because when you watched the biggest games, like the game that the Ravens ran for 300 yards on us, he was directly responsible for two of the longest runs.
Yep.
And it was his lack of speed and his lack of agility, where Derrick Henry just made one little quick cutback, went right through the hole where Roberts was supposed to be and was gone. And then the other one, he got to the edge and Roberts couldn't get there. He just isn't fast enough. And that's the speed he was last year. This upcoming year is not going to be better. So you had to do something to get some youth. I was surprised to see it because I just thought that they'd roll with Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson.
Yep.
So this kind of shows that maybe in goal line situations they'll run Malik Harris out there instead.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah.
see.
Robert Spillane did get paid 3 years, $33 million contract with the Patriots. So he's averaging at 29 years old in a middle linebacker position. He's averaging 11,000 a year, or excuse me, 11 million.
Good for him.
Which is very good for him. Offensive line. Looking at the offensive line, James Daniels signed a 3-year contract with the Miami Dolphins for $24 million. So that is good. That's what, a 5 to 6 round for potentially.
Yep. Yeah, that's all depends on where other contracts fall in, how many above, how many below that qualify. You're not allowed to get more than 4 compensatory picks in one calendar year. But right now, with everything factored in, which we'll talk a little bit more as we go down the list here, Pittsburgh is currently slated for next year's draft, which is in Pittsburgh.
Yep, I'm gonna be there. I'm going. Like, I don't know if you are or not, but I'm going.
I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll see. It's a tall task trying to get somebody to watch 7 dogs and a cat for you.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the possibility of an additional 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, and 6th round pick in a draft class that if Pittsburgh does not address quarterback this year in the draft or make a major move here in the next couple of weeks, then they're expected to possibly consider trading up next year to go get their guy. And it'll be in Pittsburgh when it happens. So it really is really leading towards like that kind of climax event in my book on what's going on here.
Nope, that's fair. James, you want to talk about the corner that we brought in?
Yeah, this is a big move, man. They went out right away and went after Darius Slay, the top corner out of Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia drafted 2 corners in last year's draft, one in the 1st round, one in the 2nd round. Both rookies did very well, which made it easy for them to move on from their 34-year-old veteran corner in Darius Slay. But Darius has had one heck of a career and still playing at a high level by all accounts. We don't necessarily need him to play at a high level for 2 or 3 years. We need 1 year out of him until we can figure out the corner number 2 situation beyond him, whether it be with a rookie or another young guy in free agency or whatever. So I really like the move. One of the first things he talked about was his experience playing under our defensive coordinator, Terrell. No, I can't think of his name, but our defensive coordinator. Yeah, Terrell Austin. He was previously a defensive backs coach for Darius in his career early on.
Very nice.
And he also talked about how he was excited to mentor Joey Porter Jr. and the other young corners in the room. So this is a team-first guy. This is a teacher that's a veteran, still playing at a high level, and I think he's going to be a massive upgrade over Dante Jackson from last year.
Yeah, very exciting to have a corner like that. And again, I mean, he was a former 1st round pick. He played on a Super Bowl winning team with the Eagles last year. even coming from the standpoint of bringing some mentality from that team over and like technique or study or something they did, like I really hope the team and the coaching staff uses that information to kind of improve what we already have going on. So very, very, very excited for that. Also brought another Philadelphia Eagle over, running back and kick return Kenneth Gainwell. Did sign a 1-year, $1.79 million contract. So that's exciting. That kind of just gives basically he just took the quarter pounder Patterson role from a smaller standpoint, which is much needed. Let's be honest. So I'm excited to have him potentially returning some kicks and stuff like that. I don't want to see Calvin Austin doing kicks. And I know he didn't often do that. He's mostly a punt returner. But maybe this will even free up Jalen Warren. If we don't bring in another running back, Jalen's the number one. You can't have him back there returning kicks. So
that is my biggest takeaway from this is that this frees up Jalen to no longer have to deal with special teams duties. You're still going to need another guy because I think you should move on from Cordarrelle Patterson, especially since I think Patterson's making more than what they just gave Gainwell, and Gainwell was a better return man last year. I don't magically expect Patterson to be better this upcoming season than what he was last year. I think he's already on the downward end of his career, and we saw that firsthand last year with just a lack of explosion, the lack of athleticism, and honestly, at times, a lack of effort too. And that's a really damning thing to say. Is somebody just not giving a lot of effort? But the way he jogged out of the end zones on those kick returns drove me nuts, man. I never saw somebody take a kick to the house that was jogging out of the end zone to start the return off. So,
yep, yeah, not very. Yeah, I don't know. We're not even going to talk about it. Pittsburgh also brought in cornerback Brandon Eccles with a 2-year deal. So that gives us a little bit more depth at that cornerback position, which we just talked about. Mike Williams, formerly of the Chargers, then came to Pittsburgh, is now back with the Chargers, James. He signed a 1-year, $6 million contract. Very interesting how that played out. And I'm very, very interested to see if they figured out, hey, he's good, we can use him, because Pittsburgh used him a couple times and he played really well when we did. So I'm interested and sad that happened. Larry Ogunjobi, go ahead.
Yeah, I got some stuff on both of those last ones. So Brandon Eccles, the corner they brought in, will compete. He's got experience on outside and at nickel, and he's only 27 years old. So if he develops, then this could be somebody post Darius Slay. It also could be somebody to give Beanie Bishop some competition at the nickel corner position. As far as Mike Williams, I was not surprised to see him go because Pittsburgh wasn't going to pay him more than the minimum based off of play on the field last year. And the biggest thing to me is that he was good as a receiver, but he was like Chase Claypool in the blocking game.
That's
zero effort, zero execution, and that just doesn't fly in Pittsburgh. So if you want to go somewhere where maybe it's just the receivers don't have to block and you just can run routes and not worry about the run plays, that's maybe a better fit for Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Larry Ogunjobi signed to the Bills on a $8.3 million per year deal. He is under a 6-game suspension, so he will
just got hit with it.
Yeah, he will not play the first 6 games. That was what was that suspension for again?
Performance enhancing drugs. Now, what one it was, you never find out typically until later on down the road. He's been in the league long enough to know what's on the list and what's not.
Yeah.
So that's a real bad mistake on his part. I always thought he was one of those dudes who had muscles stacked on muscles, and I never understood why it didn't translate better on the field. So just
might.
Yeah, just a very unfortunate move for him, but it doesn't negatively impact Pittsburgh in any way. In fact, this helps. It doesn't factor into the compensatory formula at all because we cut him. But neither does the Darius Slay because he was a cut. So.
Yep. And then probably in the biggest free agency news, I would say so far for Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh did bring in quarterback Mason Rudolph. So he returns to Pittsburgh after 2 years away on an $8 million contract. Is it 2 years? He's only been gone
1 year, just
1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't like it out in the real world. So he is back with Pittsburgh. So whatever.
I wouldn't like playing for the Titans either. They got
No, not at
nothing
all. I
for
mean,
us
hey,
right there, man.
he is a country boy. Playing in Nashville probably wasn't the worst thing.
Yeah.
But again, just kind of meh. And then
Yeah,
also the
if you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, you know that I actually wanted Pittsburgh to give Mason Rudolph a chance at the starting job the year they drafted Kenny Pickett. I wasn't surprised by them drafting Kenny Pickett, but I thought Mason had something in the tank that he could show us. And then his last year with the team, when the offensive coordinator got fired, and then Kenny Pickett got injured, Mason got a chance to step in and put 3 games together in a row that were wins at the end of the season to give Pittsburgh a chance to run into the playoffs, as to where it didn't look like it was a possibility previous to that. So,
yeah,
in good situations, Mason has put some good tape out there. And I personally think that the weapons on this team right now, with DK Metcalf, he didn't have him before. Darnell Washington was a non factor in the offense before. Jalen Warren more explosive than Najee Harris. I like the weapons on this Pittsburgh Steelers offense more now than what Mason had to deal with a couple of years ago on the team. So if you're in a pinch and Mason ends up having to play a significant amount of time, I think you could do a lot worse than that. And I think you could win you more games than lose and actually surprise a bunch of people on how good he looks.
yep. No, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. I'm excited to see what can happen. Preseason is going to mean a lot to this year more than it has in the past. That's for sure. Scotty Miller and
Especially,
Ben.
yeah, especially in this quarterback room, Cody,
Oh my
because
gosh,
even though it's not a talking note right here, um, it's basically expected to be either Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson at this point because pretty much everyone else is signed somewhere. Aaron Rodgers is known for skipping most of OTAs and all that stuff. So if that's the way they go with Aaron Rodgers, then you would expect Mason to run with the first team offense a lot.
Yep.
So we'll see what direction they go. We ought to have some clarity on that pretty soon here. I'm surprised it's not resolved yet, but I think that's more to do with Aaron Rodgers loving to be the center of attention than anything else.
Yep. Yep. Very much so. And then obviously Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek return. The token white men on our receiving core are back. So excited to see them back and playing.
Which one are you more excited about? I'll tell you, it's a pretty clear one for me.
Skoranek.
Yeah, Skoranek. In fact, I think Skoranek makes the team. I think he ends up a starting gunner for Pittsburgh. He was excellent on special teams last year and provided some punch as a blocker on offense and also a seam buster, running those routes vertically in the middle of the field. Skoranek's got enough strength and physical size to handle that and did a good job last year of it. I'm excited about Skoranek being back. I think he could be a part of the future of this team.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And if Pittsburgh brings in a wide receiver, free agency, draft, whatever, Scotty Miller could be on the way out. So that may not be a crazy thing.
Yeah, I don't expect Scotty Miller to make the team, but not with the guys that are on the roster right now.
Yeah. James, it's that time.
Your time, buddy. You're the featured guy this week. This is Cody Tanner's first mock draft of the season. I'm excited for it. He's always creative. You never know what way he's going to go. We might get a punter in the first round here. Let's see what Cody's got up his sleeves, huh?
Well, Pittsburgh Steelers being on the clock, round 1, pick 21. And let me tell you, James, it's a.
There it is.
So I did pick up in the first round, pick 21, Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle from Ohio State. Unfortunately, the defensive tackle that I was looking for was already off the board at this point. Actually went 4 picks prior to the freaking Bengals, man. So that was upsetting. But Tyleik Williams, brought him in. He is 6'3", 32-inch long arms, 334 pounds. He played at obviously Ohio State, like I said. He didn't do a whole lot in the combine. I don't think he did anything actually, but expect him to be putting up some big numbers at the pro day. I'm really looking forward to seeing the bench reps. I want to see how strong he is. I want to see that, especially with 32-inch arm longs or 32-inch arm long arms. I'm excited to see what he can do on the bench press. I know.
That,
No.
he's going to put him up, man. I guarantee it. This is an awesome run-stopping defensive tackle, which would signal a position change for Keanu Benton back out at the defensive end, I would assume.
Yep, potentially, or maybe who knows? Maybe we get somebody else. I don't know. In the second round, or excuse me,
How'd you get a second round pick?
No, we didn't have a second round pick. Ironically, with the pick that we traded to the Seahawks, they did draft a wide receiver in this mock draft, so that's funny.
That's funny.
And then in round 3, pick 83, there was a corner I was looking for in Darian Porter. He went 4 picks before. Actually, no, he went 6 picks before. Excuse me. So I saw somebody here who I thought, okay, third round, dropped this far, decent talent, a position we kind of need to some extent. So I went ahead and drafted Arizona State running back Cameron Scatabo.
There it is.
If he's there in the third, I don't mind that pick. I know that a lot of people are wishy-washy on him, James, yourself included. I think he would be a very good 1-2 punch for Jaylen Warren. I wouldn't want him to take any kind of majority of the snaps or take anything away from, Jaylen, but excited to have another tough, hard as nails running back on the Pittsburgh Steelers team.
There is no tougher running back in this upcoming draft class than Cam Scatabo. If you've watched any of his tape, it's just littered with him stiff-arming people and running people over, running through tackles, moving piles. He runs like Marshawn Lynch ran. It's incredible to watch this kid run. My only question is his long speed, because on pretty much every run you see him looking back and getting caught from behind. So I don't know what that long speed is, but if he's constantly getting run down at the college level, guys are faster at the pro level, and that is my only concern for Cam Scatabo. Outside of that, he's got great hands. He can throw the ball in a gadget roll. He's done that many times for Arizona State, where you pitch it to him, he runs out, and then he actually throws it downfield. So he's a very, very versatile back. Just doesn't seem to have long speed. I'm interested to see that 40-yard dash this pro day.
Yeah, very excited for that. James, in the 4th round, and this is going off the way the state of the Steelers right now. Right now, we have Mason Rudolph in the quarterback room, and that is it. And I saw somebody here that I just didn't want to wait for. I didn't want to pass up on. So I did draft quarterback out of Ohio State, Will Howard, here in the 4th round. Someone to come in, and if it's just Mason on the team, we don't get any other veterans, him and Mason can have a pretty good quarterback duel in the preseason and training camp. So would be very, very, very excited for that. Will Howard being the 6'4", 236-pound quarterback from Downingtown, PA. So he is a local boy. He's from the Pennsylvania area. He did do vertical jump and broad jump, but none of that stuff really matters necessarily for him. Wish I could have seen more. I didn't see a whole lot of stuff from his throwing in at the combine, but I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in this draft, and the fact that he fell to round 4 is pretty impressive. Fun fact: in round 3, Jalen Milroe went to the Cleveland Browns. So
they can have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this pick, Cody. That's a good one. Will Howard shown that he's at his best when the lights are the brightest. Played real well for Ohio State last year and very well in the championship game, helping them get a national title last year. So he'd be a very serious potential dude. Pittsburgh definitely likes drafting guys out of Ohio State, so that would not be a surprise.
Yes, sir. Round 5 rolls around, James, and there's a big position I haven't addressed yet, and I'm pretty sure you know what it is. But granted, we've addressed it in free agency twice now. I did see a guy here at 156 in the 5th round by the name of Upton Stout. Stout from Western Kentucky was available. So I did pick him up. The 4'4", 440, 21 reps on the bench. Really quick, really great option to compete for that slot cornerback position. I mean, shorter guy, but again, that speed is kind of what you're looking for. Very tough built. I would love to see some more blitzes if we got a guy like this blitzing from that corner position, or the slot corner position. So, James, I know you want to talk about him for a second.
Yeah, Kim, listen, Upton Stout's an exciting player. That's why I took him in my mock as well. So we've got our first Uh, first duplicate here, but I think for good reason because the nickel corner play left some to be desired. We saw some nice splashes last year out of Beanie Bishop, but basically anyone else playing slot corner last year was poor at best. So Upton would immediately bring that level of competition in that room up. But I like the stoutness and the build to this guy. Anytime a 180-pound guy puts up 21 reps on the bench, that has to grab your attention. So that is a well put together, very strong, very fast individual. I'd love to see him on special teams too. I bet he's like a human missile blowing people up.
Oh, I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. And then James, early in the 6th round, I was up again, and there was a position that I still want Pittsburgh to address, being the safety room, because I'm not comfortable with the safeties we have. So I saw a name here, James, safety from California.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you know where I'm going here. Craig Woodson.
Hey, another one of mine.
Another one of yours. I wasn't going to. I was looking around. There wasn't a whole lot else there. The one person that I debated on picking up as well, the Catan Crawford safety out of Nevada as well was available here. But I did choose Woodson. It would be lovely to see another Woodson in the Steelers uniform. So love that 6 foot, 200-pounder out of California. Excited to see another Woodson in the black and gold. And James, last but not least, was up again at 229. I don't remember if this was your pick not too. I don't remember what your 7th round pick was.
Well, I had 3 because we hadn't made any trades yet.
Okay. So I did pick up another defensive tackle out of Texas.
All right.
Vernon Broughton. I don't know if one of yours or not. Okay, perfect. Vernon, 6'5", 311 pounds, 35-inch long arms. Just a beast of a human. Didn't do anything at the combine, unfortunately. Excited to see his pro day. The dude is just a freaking tank. So very, very, very excited to see what he could potentially do. One of the things when looking at his combine grading and stuff like that, was just takes longer strides on run block than necessary. So other than that, I'm excited to see what he does. He's got a big build. He's a big dude, and we want someone there that's going to stuff the run. And so that's someone that could lead into another role down the line or develop into something as well. So excited for that.
We've said it a million times, right? In those late round picks, you're looking for lump of clay guys that fit the physical mold, because that's one thing you can't change is the physical size. But that's a tremendous size, tremendous length for the defensive line position. Would fit in as a backup defensive end very nicely. And that's been an issue for Pittsburgh. The backup defensive ends either have the size or the length, but not both.
Yep.
Like Leal had the length, but not the size. Loudermilk had the size, but not the length. Logan Lee has the size, but not the length. It's like you just can't seem to get everything in one package. So it'd be exciting to add some more youth to that group. I'm interested to see if they bring back Loudermilk, too. It's very interesting that they went out of their way to release Larry Ogunjobi and have not brought another defensive lineman in yet. So I guess right now Dean Lowry's the starting defensive end on the one side.
Hey, it is what it is for now, James. They'll figure it out, and we'll be here to tell you when they do. So that's going to wrap up today's show. James, any last words or remarks?
No, excited for the upcoming week here. We got it's mock draft season, so we're going to be throwing mock drafts at you guys like crazy. We'll try to get some guests on here for you to get some other opinions well for their mock drafts. I know that our good friend Nick is chomping at the bit to talk about a mock draft, so maybe we can pull him on one Sunday morning here.
Yeah, absolutely. James, we can't thank our viewers enough for being here. Make sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews on our podcast. Make James here very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.
Steelers.